Okay, hello. Welcome to Science and Social for today. We're doing a little bit of a hybrid kind of class, but mostly science. I'm just mentioning one thing for social studies. Okay, so for social, next week we are completing our Iroquois unit. So as you know, we're doing our very last thing, which is to what process does the decision making, or to what extent does the decision making process of the Iroquois Confederacy reflect the ideals of equity and fairness? So every single group has a different example that shows how that is the case, and you are creating your visual or your flip a clip or whatever it is to show your example to the rest of the class. So those are going to be presented on Wednesday. And I'm going on Monday, we're going to do our Zoom class again, and you're going to have the majority of the time in your breakout rooms, which is where you're going to be compiling it and then even practicing like who's kind of going to say what, or maybe you're going to be deciding who's going to do what part. So everyone should have a role in that. And maybe one person's role is presenting because somebody else made it, or someone had the idea, or kind of whatever, but there does need to be an element that every single person does. And you might use the process of consensus to even decide upon that. Okay, so what we're doing, I'm just quickly going to go over what we're going to be doing next Thursday, which is going to be a show what you know, very similar to what we did in science, which was where it's basically like the full unit review. It's kind of like a test, but you get to use your books and you get to use your textbook. So it's kind of just like an opportunity to show how well you know the unit. If we were in class, we would be doing this as a test, but you wouldn't get to use your books. So instead, it's just like show what you know using the resources that you have. Okay, so this is what's going to be on it. I'm going to be posting this to our social studies page today. So, and we're going to go over this way more on Sunday because we have social studies on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday of next week. So we're just going to go over that. Or really, we're just going to do social actually on Sunday and Monday of next week. So I'm going to go over this full thing, and I'm going to be kind of like telling you a lot of the different like study notes for this on Sunday. Okay, so you can look forward to that. It's gonna be like kind of like a full review. Then so you will get to use your notes. It's open book and open textbooks are allowed, but you cannot have external help from other resources such as your parents, siblings, or the internet. I suggest that you review all of this stuff before we actually do the show what you know, just because it's going to save you some time, because this will be a timed task. And then I also would suggest that you maybe create a couple like extra little helpful review notes for concepts that you think might be a little bit tricky. Yep. Okay, so I'll go over this more, but the key thing to know, this is going to be happening next Thursday. Okay, so now we're going to go into science for the rest of, I guess, this class, and it's not going to be too much, but I will explain it. Okay, so the first thing was from yesterday, we learned how to collect our fingerprints. Technically, these fingerprints that you were making were what type? Okay, let's just think about this. What type of fingerprint did you actually create yesterday? Okay, so some people created patent prints, where you actually dipped your finger into like paint or something. But what everybody did is you made a little like square of your pencil and scribbled it in, and then you rolled your finger in that, and then you picked up that using tape. So what do you think that you used? Okay, the answer is patent. Everyone actually made a patent print because whether it was paint or lead or whatever, you all made patent prints. And then we're analyzing those. So the first thing that we're doing today is you're going to look at everybody's who's posted them. And I would love the more people that are able to post, the better, because it's going to give you guys more practice. And what I'd like you to do underneath these is to comment. Okay, and this is going to be your attendance mark for today. I want to know that every single person has done at least minimum of 2 identifications of different fingerprints, okay? So the cool thing with some of these is there might be a few examples that's classic. So Rita's, wow, this is a classic whirl. There we go. I just kind of gave that one away. Yeah, really cool. I agree, Daniel. And then there might be others that are maybe really classic arch. Okay, one thing, we need to be able to clearly tell what it is. Okay, so Allie, you might need to redo some of these so that we can tell. You might have used a little bit, maybe too much of your lead. Yeah, it might take a little bit of practice to kind of get one that was good. Mohammed, this one looks pretty good. Yeah, okay. We can't quite, oh yeah, we can tell a little bit of the origin point. I think we can tell that one. Okay, good. Rajavi, very clear, excellent. Ada, yeah, we can get it going right down to the bottom. That would be the best. Okay, that's a really clear one. So what you're doing is, yeah, you're commenting on minimum of 2 of those, and this is your attendance mark for today, okay? Now, the next thing that we're doing is we're just gonna watch a video of how to collect latent prints, okay? Because we made patent prints yesterday. Latent, like I'm even just, if you look on like, I don't know, like glasses, like I have these like reading glasses I've been wearing sometimes when I'm looking at the computer screen for too long. And I can tell on here, if I were to go like this, oh yeah, can you guys see? I've left my fingerprint on it. Yeah, okay. So that would be an example of a latent fingerprint because it's invisible, right? You can't instantly see it. So today what we're gonna be doing is learning about how to lift latent fingerprints. If we were in class, we would have done an experiment on this. It's very tricky. I remember last year there were students who were just like, stayed in for recess to try to get this. So if you want to try to lift a latent print, you can. I suggest that you get like maybe rub your finger on your head where it's like a little bit oily, and then you use that and then you do like a really clear press of it onto like, I don't know, you could put it like onto your phone or like something. Yeah, there. Okay, so print it really clearly. And then the method for actually lifting these is you have to create, you get a pencil and then you make like a huge rub blotch over something, and then you would get like a little paintbrush, which we would be doing if we were in school, and then you'd get like all of the little like filaments of your pencil that you have made, and then you dip your really fine paintbrush into this. It's like really like a home style, like a DIY kind of thing. You'll see the actual way to do it, and then you dust it really lightly over top of the latent print that you've made. Then you blow it off, like blow off the extra, and then the same deal. Then you get your tape and then you press it on and then you lift it. And it's really cool if we can do it, but it's also very, very, very challenging. So if you want, you can try that as like a fun thing. But we're just going to look at how the experts actually do this. Okay, so here we go.
For today's activity, I'm going to teach you how to lift a fingerprint off of a surface. There's 3 types of fingerprints: latent, which we'll be collecting today, patent, and plastic. Latent fingerprints are invisible to the naked eye and need to be developed so you can see them in order to collect them. Patent fingerprints are in a substance like blood. Plastic fingerprints are in a 3-dimensional substance like chocolate or putty. For the instance today, we're going to be fingerprinting this desk area. So we're going to be using magnetic fingerprint powder and a magnetic fingerprint wand. I'll show you how the wand works. You just have the end depressed, then it will pick up the magnetic fibers. If you pull on the end, it releases the magnetic fibers.
Okay, it's super high tech.
So pick up some fibers, and we're just
gently
going to fingerprint the surface that we're interested in. Keep in mind that the wand itself should never actually touch the table. It doesn't need to. We just want the fibers, the magnetic fibers, running over the print. We're going to clean this up a little bit before we actually collect it. Interestingly enough about fingerprints are made up of 3 things: sweat, oil and protein. It's the oil in your fingerprints that the magnetic fibers are actually clinging to. There's many different types of fingerprint powder and tape, and the type that you use is really going to be dictated by the surface that you're printing.
Yeah, that's
the tape
the key
that we're
thing.
using today is called diff lift. What you're going to want to do is fold the end over slightly so you have an area to grab. And what I like to do is I like to look at the fingerprint that I've developed and then judge how much tape I'm actually going to need. So in this case, I'm really only going to need about 2 to 3 inches. You can see the print on the table. I'm just going to hold the end that I've folded over, sit right down and smooth the edges down. The tape
That's
can
pretty
move
high-tech
sometimes, so I
tape.
do like to hold the corner
Yeah.
as I smooth the tape out. I'll leave that for just a second and grab what we call a lift card. This is the back of the lift card. The front is glossy. The glossy part's where you want to put your fingerprint lift. The back is where you can draw a diagram of where you remove the lift from, and also it has many lines so you can put your case information. So I'll set the card down. The print is nice and smoothed out. I'm going to slowly peel back, grab the side, and just lay the tape right down on the back of the lift card. And again, smooth it out. So now you can see the latent fingerprint that we lifted.
Cool. Okay, there we go. So that is how to lift latent prints. Now, the other thing we're going to be thinking about, and this is the last thing that we need to really know, is what type of powder to use. The two main types is either black or white. As Eva mentioned the other day, there's also pink and there also could be green. So it depends on the surface that's being used. So, or that you're detecting the print from. So the key thing is, if you are using black powder, you would be lifting from a light surface, such as like a piece of paper that's light. If you're using a black powder, then you're going to be, other way around. So then white powder, like this one they have here, right? They've used this. So they're picking it up from a dark background, okay? I am just gonna post this video for you guys to watch on your own time onto our site, okay? If you wanna see more different techniques of how they actually do this lifting using different tools. This is not a magnetic tool, it's something different. But the key thing is black powder is used for light surfaces, of course, so it pops. And then white powder, such as this one, would be used for a dark surface, again, so that it pops. So that is all that you need to know for today. On your piece of paper that you've been using to collect your information on fingerprints, we did types, right? Then we did ridge characteristics. And then we did, we did like the form. So we did like loop, whirl, and arch. And then we talked about ridge characteristics. So that was our first lesson. Yesterday, we did types of fingerprints. So latent and patent, and then plastic. And then today, we're talking more about the types of powders. So the fourth thing that you should have on this page is this. What type of powder to use? Black powder used for light surfaces. White powder used for dark surfaces, okay? Then you can watch this as a bonus if you would like to. Then as a reminder, so your only thing you have to do is just write this in your book today, and then you need to go onto our site, onto our page, post your fingerprint if you are able to. I'm not requiring that everybody does, but that would be great just to give us more for our class to look at. And then, and then comment under at least 2 people's types, okay? And if we're noticing that some of these are kind of like a blend, then it might be called a composite, which means that it's kind of like a hybrid between 2 different types. So Riz is pretty classic, right? But I think there was one that was I think Alex is actually. Yeah, Alex is a pretty classic example of a composite because it looks like a swirl here in the middle, but then also it looks like an loop because here it comes up and then it exits on the same side that it enters on. So it's we're focusing mainly just on like the epicenter here, right? Of course, this looks like an arch over here, but they all kind of go with this. We're just really focusing on the center bit here. Okay, so that is it for today. Also, a reminder, I'll say this, no, I'll just say this in our agenda message. I'm just gonna say about your notebooks for math, but science, just posting your two observations for what type of fingerprint it is, and then writing down the type of powder that you would use depending upon what surface. Okay, that's it for today, and then you can also watch the video if you want, which I'm gonna post as well.